Talk of a possible government shutdown loomed as lawmakers readied their vote on a budget bill that might have prevented such an occurrence. But that gloom and doom talk didn't scare my next guest away from his core principles, which is why he voted no on the budget. He and other anti-borrowing and spending lawmakers successfully defeated it. All this as the stock market suffered heavy losses today. Here to discuss what's going on in the House of Representatives, Georgia Republican Congressman and Dr. Phil Gingrey. Congressman Gingrey, it's always a pleasure. Welcome back to Freedom Watch.
Judge, my pleasure to be with you. I don't know a thing about the stock market, but I do know what's going on the House floor, and I look forward to talking to you about that.
My hat is off to you for voting against any resolution that would cause the government to spend money that it doesn't have. But tell us why you voted against this continuing resolution last night.
Well, Judge, really there were two reasons. First of all, I don't believe, I know a lot of people in my conference do think that we need to offset every dollar we spend. But, you know, when you're dealing with an emergency situation in the Northeast with all that flooding, I mean, I didn't agree that we really needed to offset the $1 billion that's going to be spent in 2011. I like what's in the 2012 provision so that we finally pre-fund FEMA spending based on a 10-year estimate of what it cost us in natural disasters, and that's the right way to do it. And then the other thing, of course, is the bottom line spending. You know, we passed a budget in the House. It's not the Paul Ryan budget, although he did great work as chairman of the committee. It is the Republican budget. It's what we voted for, and that number, 1.019, I think was the correct number rather than 1.043.
But you are a fiscal conservative, a small government Republican, a person who believes that the Constitution confines the government and it should reside within the Constitution. Yeah. Why would you vote for the government to spend money that it doesn't have? That's not you. You don't believe in that. That's going to make things worse, not better. No matter how noble the cause may be, when the government spends today what it doesn't have, you're burdening your children and your grandchildren with paying those bills back.
Well, Judge, you make a good point, of course. You always do. But, you know, you look at what we spent on Iraq and Afghanistan, and, you know, maybe that spending should be paid for as well. I certainly was in favor of Iraq when they got their oil production back up to 1.5 million barrels a day, that maybe they should pay us back a little bit for all the money that we spent. But, you know, I voted for those actions without spending offsets, and so I would feel a little hypocritical to say that we can't get money to those folks that are no home, their children, all their clothes are ruined, and they're in a desperate situation, and all of a sudden we're going to have to cut spending on maybe some very needed programs.
I hear you.
If we can find offsets.
You have a big heart. You're a physician.
You know, maybe like Solyndra,
you've spent your life healing people. But is it the job of the federal government, or is it the job of some other entity in society to take care of people when a natural disaster strikes? And if it's the job of the federal government, Congressman Gingrey, where is that in the Constitution?
Well, Judge, I will say to you that, again, you make a good point, and probably more of my conference feel the way you do than my position on that. But the main issue, the main reason I voted no, was the fact that we had a budget that we passed that I thought was fiscally responsible at 1.19, and I never voted for the debt ceiling agreement at 1.043. You're talking about a, $24 billion increased spending over what we agreed to in the budget. So I think I've been pretty consistent on that. My credentials of fiscal responsibility and conservatism, I think, remain.
Got it. Congressman Gingrey, it's a pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Judge, thank you very much.
Despite last night